So the gun has been attached to the melee weapon. And we have a perfectly good ranged weapon controller. It's also part of the same mesh. First thing we'll need to do is separate that weapon out as a different mesh. The reason to do this is because every weapon inside Transformers is a separate attachment. So it cannot be a part of the same mesh. This is something we just add later. And in order for us to animate the weapon, we just need to make sure that if we attach it to one of these, to this controller, for example, we animate this controller, and the weapon will be attached to this joint here. So that's the only way we can animate the weapon. So, to simulate that, we need to separate the weapon as a separate mesh, and in turn, we're going to export it as a separate FBX. Let's move this out. Select everything. Everything. Back to object mode, reset this. And hopefully, if we go back to face mode, we should have these faces selected. Okay. Cool. Duplicate that. Extract these faces. We're going to combine everything apart from the gun. Delete history. Let's hide the original mesh. And center this to the world. Freeze transformations, reset transformations, so the pivot is at the handle. To move this slightly further back. Freeze, transform, reset, transform. Okay. Now let's merge the body together. Delete history. Copy the waste from the original body to the new body. Clean up any stragglers. So let's see where these were supposed to be. Oh, this needs to be skin to the chest. So it looks like that was mostly it. Now let's keep the original body just in case. I'm just gonna call it body old, but we might need to get some mesh information or skin information from it at some point. And let's make sure this is named like the original body was. Delete this group. Save. Let's also make sure the weapon is called something reasonable. Overlord 0 weapon 0. We're gonna group this. WPN. Overlord gun. Okay, now to see how this is going to work, all we need to do is find, so this joint is going to be our parent joint. So I'm going to select that joint and then control click on the gun group and then constrain parent, and I'm going to reset these settings. And we're going to turn off maintain offset, and that is on purpose because we want the weapon to snap to the joint itself. So I'm going to click add. And this is exactly what we're going to see in game. Now we can see already that the transformation or the rotation of it is wrong. If we animate this, like you can see, this is already not going to animate correctly because this weapon control is, I don't know why, for some reason it's scaled and not moving at all. So we're going to have to copy some animations over. But first, let's also make sure that the scale, we can also do scaling on it. So because a parent constraint only transfers rotation and position, we still need to do the scaling. So do scale. Yes, scale constraint. And this will let us scale the weapon up and down too. All right, let's fix the rotation. So just need to rotate it 90 degrees on the x-axis. And freeze transform. Okay. Let's see. Let's see what kind of keyframes we have on the weapon itself. So on the melee weapon, you can see what happens because of the ununiform scaling. It just looks really strange. So I'm going to delete all of these. We really don't need any of these keyframes. And we're going to set one key up. Hopefully, this should follow the arm now, or the hand rather. Okay, that's all correct. With a bit of luck, we actually might be able to copy some keyframes from here. So from our original weapon. And if we copy paste them on this weapon, hopefully it should just work. Yes, the rotation is not correct, but that is okay. Well, some stuff is not quite working. Could it be because of the hand world follow? Maybe. Let's see. Oh, this also has a different constraint. It's called a pelvis world. So we need to copy the rig exactly like it is on the axe or the melee weapon. Okay. So let's add the pelvis world attribute. This will be a float, minimum 0, maximum 1. Okay. So we have our attribute here, but it's not doing anything right now, so just need to make sure it does. Actually, before we go to the node editor, we would need to make sure that CC hips are constraining our weapon. Okay, so CC hips constrain parent. This time we want to maintain the offset. We don't want this to be moving around. So we have the exact same setup as the other weapon. Yes. Okay. So in our node editor, okay, let's click this. So we need a weapon control, and also its parent constraint. Expand this. So all we need to do is connect this to that. Oh, this is done with a driven key. Interesting. Well, this should work anyway. So if I set this to 1, this would mean that the pelvis would actually move this. So it is moving it, but right, so it looks like this is inverted. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go into the node editor. And we see our connection here. So this means we can't simply connect this. We just need to invert it first. So do a float math. We're going to do connect to B. To subtract. What this will do is will be the value of pelvis swirl will be 1 minus the value of pelvis swirl, which would invert it. And the result of that, we're just going to hook to CC hips weight, and hopefully that should give us the result we need. So if this is 0, it should be hooked to the pelvis, and it's the other way around. It should be hooked up to the hand. Right, that's correct. Let's reset this and try and copy the keys again. So hopefully this should give us the result that we expect. Select the weapon, paste. Still not seeing any keys here. Interesting. Let's delete these. Let's do delete. And reset these. The name is not exactly correct. Oh, this is called Pelvis World. Okay. Well, maybe the best thing to do is to just make sure this is named correctly. This is how you spell pelvis. Okay. So, let's try this again. Copy the keys. Paste. It's promising. Yes. Yes. So all the keys are copied correctly. So we have the other weapons animations. All we need to do now is to compensate for the rotation. So we just need to go to Graph Editor. And let's see, we need to rotate X. Just need to grab all these keys apart from the first one. And just drag them down like so. And this should give us the correct animation. Let's scrub through the timeline and see. Yeah. It's pointing slightly downwards in this instance. Maybe we just need to drag these a bit more. So this way the orientation matches perfectly with the original weapon. Okay, that's that. The other thing we need to make sure of is that, so this weapon, just in case we attach something to this weapon in the game later, we just need to make sure that there are no keys whatsoever. So we delete these. And we're gonna set a key at -5, and then one at 0. And on this, we're gonna make sure that the scale is 0.01. Because we don't want any weapons to be visible at all during the transformation animation. So let's do the same thing for the other weapon. So that is the left weapon. Same again, delete all the keys. Don't even need that. Set a key at -5, set another key at 0. And set those to 0.01. Never go with absolute 0. Unity hates that. There you get a lot of artifacts and popping if you set a joint's scale to 0. So always stick to almost close to 0 instead of pure 0. Okay. So what is this? Elbow. Oh, interesting. That is that controller, but for some reason it also has scaling on. There's no scale constraint on the joint, so we don't really need the scale. So let's go again, graph editor. Go to the scale keys and just delete these. We don't really need any scaling at all. It just creates weirdness in the viewport. Yes. I'm going to delete the scaling keys. Okay, save our file.